Going to work as a supply teacher, a cover supervisor, or a teaching assistant from an educational agency for the first time can be tense, can be you can be worried that, oh, how am I going to do in the school and all that. So this is what we're going to be discussing to this video: what you need to take along, what you need to do on your first day as a cover supervisor, a supply teacher, or a teaching assistant in the UK. Hi guys, you're welcome back to this channel. My name is Omowumi. If this is your first time here, you're welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, you're welcome. Like this video, share for those that would benefit from it. So in today's video, we'll be talking about the things you need to do on your first day as a supply teacher, a cover supervisor, or even a teaching assistant working with an educational agency, because you'll be placed to different schools. I've talked about this on some of my videos on this channel. So if you want to check on benefits of working as a supply teacher, a cover supervisor with an educational agency, you can check through my video. I'll drop the link to the video. You can check for the benefits and the downsides. Yeah, so you can check for that and some other videos related to teaching. So on this channel, that is what we do. We talk about supply teaching in the UK. We talk about teaching generally in the UK. I am a supply teacher in the UK, so I'm sharing this information on this channel so that others can benefit from it. So let's dive into today's video. So working with educational agency, like I've explained in some of my videos, you need to work in different schools. Yes, you need to work in different schools. So on your first day of placement, on your first day working as a supply teacher, a cover supervisor, or a teaching assistant, if you don't know what these terms mean, you can check on the video where I explain about this three different job description, job role, whereby I talked about the job role and job description. You can check that in one of the videos I made. So the first thing you would do is to check with your educational agency. We have lots of them. There was one video I made whereby in my description I listed some of these educational agencies. So if you want to register with them, you can just Google and check for which one you have in your vicinity, or probably where you are, the city where you are, and then you can register with them. So let's dive into the video, into the topic of today. So the first thing to do is to ask your educational agency your daily rate. Yeah, ask for your pay. I know why I'm saying this. Ask for your pay. Don't just get the placement and then go on to the school without asking for what you're going to be paid for, because your daily rate will depend on your experience. Your daily rate will depend on your qualification. So you need to check with your educational agency to know the daily rate you're going to be paid for. If you have a QTS, if you don't have a QTS, if you're working as an unqualified supply teacher, if you're working as a cover supervisor, or if you're even working as a teaching assistant. And then you can also ask your friend or anyone you know that is working with at the educational agency how much they earn, so that you would know how you're going to talk about your daily rate with your educational agency. So the first thing, when you finish your registration, I've talked about the documents you need for registration in one of my videos. So when you finish your registration, you're done with your referencing and everything with your educational agency, talk about your daily rates with your educational agency. Know what you're going to be paid for. Yeah, that is the first thing. So the second thing you're going to do on your first day is to take along with you your pen. You need to get a bag. Yeah, most supply teachers usually has a big bag. I'm not talking about very big, but you have like a bag whereby you have all the things you need inside your bag. You need a pen, you need a paper, probably a book. In my own bag, I usually have a pen. I have like a jotter, a book, a plain book that you can rip off if you want to write anything or something. I have that. You need to take along your DBS. You can get probably like a small pouch for your DBS so that it doesn't get torn, because you have to take it. Sometimes you have to take it, especially when you are just starting, you have to take it to every school you are being placed. at least the first time. You have to show them in that school. So where when you start going to different schools, then you might not take along your DBS because they will see the first day, and when you're going back to that school, you don't need to take along your DBS. But because you're just starting, you might still be placed in different schools. So just get a small pouch for your DBS so that it doesn't get torn or probably get lost. You would need to take an ID, yes, a valid ID card. You can, most times, I take my BRP. Yes, I take my BRP. You can take your driver's license if you have one. You can take, and if you're fortunate, with one of my educational agencies, I was given an ID card. So sometimes I don't take along my BRP. I will just take along the ID card in which I was given from my educational agency. So if you're opportune to be given an ID card from your educational agency, you can just take that one along. That would also do for the ID part. So after all this, when you get to the school will check your ID card, your DBS, and after that you'll be asked to go in. You will meet with the cover manager. Yes, each schools has a cover manager, so you're definitely going to meet with your cover manager when you are being checked at the reception. The first thing, go to the reception. That is the first place you're going to, the reception of the school. You know this is the reception, or you can just ask the student, and I'm going to get there, in which I'll talk about ready to learn, ask questions. If you don't know, it's your first time. Even as I have experience in supply teaching, if it's my first time in that school, I ask questions. You ask questions. Whatever you don't know, just ask. You can ask your cover manager. You can ask other teachers in the school. So ask questions. So you're definitely going to meet with your cover manager. When you meet with your cover manager, ask questions. She's going to tell you your activities for the day. In some schools, you'll be placed in a class to shadow a teacher for the first lesson. There are some schools like that. When it's your first time in the school, they'll place you, your first lesson, place you in a classroom with a teacher, or probably a cover supervisor that has experience, or another supply teacher that has experience in that school, just for you to shadow, to know what to do when you get to your own classroom, or when you get to your own lesson. So there are some schools like that, and there are some schools whereby you go straight into your lesson from the first lesson. You're going straight into your lesson from the first lesson, whereby you don't have the opportunity to shadow or see anybody. So after you check, when you meet with your cover supervisor, like I said, you'll be given your activities for the day, the lesson for the day, the classroom you're going to. They will tell you, it will be printed out for you. In some schools, you'll be given a laptop. In some schools, you have like a monitor, not a laptop now, like a desktop, yes, in the classroom, so you don't need to carry your laptop about. But in some schools, you'll be given a laptop for the day. You have to take care of that. It's the school property, because you have to return it at the end of the day. So that is why when you need to get to the school on time. Don't be late. Get to the school on time. If you need to take a cab, at least for your first day, take a taxi. Get to the school on time at least 30 minutes earlier before the lesson will start, so that you can familiarize yourself. You can meet with the cover supervisor. They can give you the activities, your lessons for the day. You can, even if you get there very early, you can even be sure, because these schools are big. Because most of these schools are very big. You need to find your way around the school. The cover manager will do that. They're pleasant. In most schools, the cover manager is so pleasant, so they will take you around. Oh, this is where you're going to, and the classes are numbered, so you can just check the numbers on the door. And even if you miss your way, ask questions, ask teachers. You see teachers around the school, you see the on-call team around the school, or even the students at times. Some students are so lovely, they are ready to show you the way, or ready to tell you where you're going, so you can ask questions. Yes. So like as I was saying, in your bag, your supply teacher bag or your cover supervisor bag, you need your packed lunch, I mentioned in one of my videos whereby I said the downside of being a supply teacher is because you're not entitled to a free lunch. Some schools we give you once in a while, where if you are being placed on a long term in that school, they can place you on hospitality. So get your packed lunch from home, or you get some schools accept cash to get your lunch and your dinner, so you pay with cash. Some few schools accept card, a debit card. Few schools accept a debit card. I don't think any school accepts a credit card. I'm not sure, but I've not tried it. So some schools might, but most schools accept cash. Some schools are cashless. I've been to a school that is cashless. Yeah. Some schools are cashless. They don't accept card. They don't accept cash. Yeah. So you just need to get your packed lunch to the school. So get your packed lunch, because you're definitely going to have something for your dinner. You'll be there for roughly 7 hours. So you need to get your something for lunch or your dinner. So these are some of the things that you need to be in your supply teacher bag or your cover supervisor bag or as a teaching assistant. So now let's go into what you need to do when you get to your lesson. Now, when you get to your lesson as a first time in that school, you need to greet the students. Yes, greet your students when they come in. In most schools, your students will line up at the front of your classroom, and then you as the teacher, you welcome your students into your class. You welcome them into your class, you greet them, and then after that, you introduce yourself. You can, if you're a teacher from Africa or from wherever you're from, and if you feel your name is difficult to pronounce, just like mine is long, so you can just shorten it, or just you can shorten it just to make it easy for the students to be able to call you by your name. And you tell the student, you're Miss this. For me, I call myself, I'm Miss Wumi. I short it so that it will be easy for the student to pronounce. Yeah, so you can shorten it and you can call it in full. Just tell the student, this is what I want to be addressed with. So you need to introduce yourself. You tell them, I am a supply teacher or a cover supervisor. I'll be covering for your lesson for today. If it's a maths lesson, you say, I'm covering for your maths lesson for today. Introducing yourself, that is the next thing. You need to take the register. Each lesson you go to, you need to take the register. Now, in some schools we print out the name of the student for you to take when you get for each lesson, because you need to mark the register for each of your lesson. And register is very, very important when you go to schools. Register is very important because it makes them to know the student that are in the classroom. If after taking your register, they will check. There are some people that check this register for each lesson. That is why you have to make it at the beginning of your lesson. That is why you have to do the register at the beginning of the lesson, so that they will know the students that are not in the classroom and probably get the on-call team to look for them in the school. Now, if you don't take your register, or probably you forgot and you took it like 15 minutes, because some lessons are 1 hour, some are 50 minutes, or probably you took it 40 minutes after the lesson has started, they wouldn't be aware one of your students is not in the classroom. So you need to take the register. After introducing yourself to the students, you need to take the register. So some schools will print out the names of the students for each lesson, print it out on a plain paper and hand it over to you. So you just you call out the names, tick the register, and get one of the students. You're not the one that is taking it back to the reception. Get a responsible student from your classroom to take it back to the reception. You must not leave your classroom. Even if you have to leave for probably emergency or anything, you need to get someone to cover for your classroom. You cannot leave your classroom. So you get one of the students to take it to the reception. And if it's a school whereby their own register is done online, you would be taught by your cover manager how you're going to do the registration for your students. You would be taught. If you don't understand, ask questions. That is just ask questions. And in some nice schools, if during your lesson, even if you have any issue, the on-call department will come and check up on you if you have anything, or probably you don't know how you're going to go about doing the register. The on-call team will help you out, or even you can even tell one of your students to go to the reception and get someone for you. And in some schools, on the laptop or the desktop in the classroom, there's a button you can click for the on-call team and they'll come straight into your classroom and you can ask any questions. So don't be panicked, don't be worried. Whatever you don't understand, ask questions. Now you need to engage the students as much as possible as you can. Even though if you're going there as a cover supervisor, because as a cover supervisor, you can cover for many subjects. I mentioned this in one of my videos. You can cover for French, even if you don't know how to speak French. You can cover for Spanish, because your job role is to cover for this teacher that is not around. You're not expected to teach. Yeah, you're not expected to teach. So you engage the student as much as possible. Don't feel, oh, I don't know maths, so you probably just give them the task and then you go there sitting and doing nothing. Try and engage your students. Your students will also give good feedback about you if you're being good, and if you're not being good to them, they're going to give a bad feedback about you. So engage the students as much as possible while covering for the teacher that is not around. Don't let them feel, oh, if our teacher is around, we would have done this and done that and all that. Though they will see you as not their teacher, but try and engage the students. Try and go through the tasks together. If it's something you can do, if it's not the language is probably Spanish or French. Even if it is, try and engage them. As a teacher, you know how you can engage your students even without teaching them. So try and engage them. Let them go through the task. Let them get the task done. And then collect the task at the end. If you're doing it in their notebook, fine. You need to get their notebooks back at the end of the lesson. Most schools, their notebook is usually in their class. So some students will help you out. They will hand it out at the beginning of the lesson, and then when it's about few minutes before the lesson will end, you need to they have to get their books back into their box. Now the next thing is you need to manage your classroom well. Yes, you need to manage your classroom well. Don't talk back at your students. Don't be careful of your choice of words, because you're dealing with vulnerable people, children. You have to be careful. When a student is disrupting your classroom, you need to talk. You don't talk back at them or talk over the student. You need to talk with that student outside just to know why the student is misbehaving in your classroom. And then before your lesson starts, before you get into your lesson, if you have time, try to read the safeguarding policy of each school. You'll be given that in every school you go to for the first time. You'll be given that booklet to read. Try to read that. Even if you don't have the opportunity to read it before your lesson starts, when you have your break, in most schools you have two breaks. You have one break, and then one lunch break, and then you have one dinner break. But in few schools you have just one dinner break in the whole day. So during your break time, read the safeguarding policy. It is very important, please, and this will also help you on how to manage your classroom. The safeguarding policy, the behavioral management, how you are going to manage the behavior in your classroom, the disciplinary actions. Yeah, in some schools, in most schools is in stages. You give the first warning, you give the second warning, you give the third warning, and then if the student is still, then you can talk with your student outside. And if the student is still misbehaving in your classroom, then you can get the team to probably help in talking with the student outside the classroom. So you need to read this. This will help you a lot, especially in managing your classroom. You will know what to do. You will know the things to do. These are the things you would do on your first day as a supply teacher, a cover supervisor, or even a teaching assistant. Few things. The only thing that is different with a teaching assistant is because you are assisting a teacher in the classroom. But you should also read the safeguarding policy. You should also engage with your student, because you are assisting the teacher. You need to engage with your student, with the students you're supporting. So this is what you need to do on the first day as a supply teacher, cover supervisor, working with an educational agency, being placed in a school for the first time. So if you have any question, you can drop it in the description. I will try as much as possible to answer your questions if I've not talked about it in this video. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.